We have Dr. Beth Vonnahme joining us again from UMKC just to add some perspective to these results as they're coming in. And I want to talk a little bit about split tickets, people going in the voting booth and not necessarily voting straight down party lines. Looking at the Northland, I was just looking at Platte and Clay County, which both had Donald Trump winning by at least 50%, obviously. But then the race was really close for Hawley and Koontz, and then on Amendment 3 passing in both of those counties. Can you talk about what might have motivated people to vote that way?
Sure, I think in some Senate and House races you're going to see that split ticket. Part of it is that candidates that successfully separate themselves from the major party candidates for president will see some of that split ticketing, and I think you see that with Koontz. On questions of ballot amendments like Amendment 3, I think we have to remember that the presidential election is not always about issues, and amendments are literally about issues. And I think they give us a chance to really see how voters really feel about issues. Sometimes the candidates paint them as black and white, and voters are always somewhere in that gray range. And that's what I think we're seeing on Amendment 3.
Back to the electoral map last night, we talked about Pennsylvania a lot leading up to the election. That ends up being kind of a linchpin situation, as it often is, going to Donald Trump. It went to President Biden 4 years ago. A lot was made of Kamala Harris's VP pick, and Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, was on that short list. A lot of people thought that could be it. And when his name was mentioned, I heard so many pundits say, well, that may carry Pennsylvania for you because he's a moderate. Looking at these numbers, it looks like former President Trump won Pennsylvania pretty handily, or maybe more handily than what people thought we were going to do. Do you see that being a difference if they had a more different ticket there in Pennsylvania?
I think it could have had a difference. I don't know that it would have made a difference in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Or, even
which Trump also
won. And I think things are trending in, Michigan and Nevada and Arizona. And so I don't think it makes a difference in those other states. But certainly in Pennsylvania, if you have a reasonably popular governor or senator that you add to a ticket, it's going to have an effect for sure.
It's just really interesting to watch. I mean, we made so much of these swing states, these battleground states, and they are really largely going in one direction last night, which I think not a lot of people expected in that race.
No, I certainly think people expected a bit more of a split.
Yes. All right, we'll have one more conversation with Dr. Vonnahme later on this morning, and we'll talk to her about what's going on with these local races, these amendments we've been talking about. We'll talk more about that, so stay tuned for that later on in the hour.